Okay, so this is English 373, week 5, part 3. It's just, it's worth noticing at the end of the play what has happened. And again, I was saying this play, some people think this play is sort of anti-woman. I don't think that because I think Lady Macbeth is too awesome to be, she's one of Shakespeare's greatest creations. And to me, that's pro-woman. She's evil, but like, women should be allowed to be villains. I think that's cool. It's not like if we want female representation in movies, I don't think they should always have to be good guys. Bad guys are often way more memorable than the good guys. I feel like every Batman movie I've ever seen has lived and died on whether or not the villain's any good. Um, and where would Star Wars be without Darth Vader? I mean, come on. I'm not a big Star Wars guy. Um, so I think it's worth noticing where the women are at the end of this play. So at the beginning of the play, you've got the witches and Lady Macbeth sort of pushing Macbeth to get the crown. Now, I don't really think it's the fault of the women. I think Macbeth kind of wanted this anyway. They're not telling him anything he's not already thinking. They're not encouraging him to do anything he doesn't want to do. He does want that crown, and he's willing to kill Duncan to get it. But it's worth pointing out that the play is set in motion because you've got three witches, and in the movie four, plus Lady Macbeth pushing Macbeth to do terrible things. And by the end of the play, the witches have vanished. In fact, one of the movie versions of the play involves Donalbain, who is King Duncan's other son, who's not really in the story very much, going to visit the witches at the end. Like he's going to be like they're going to say you're going to be king next. He's going to go kill his brother, and it's going to start a whole other fucking thing. Um, but the witches get away. Lady Macbeth is dead. Um, Lady Macduff is dead. And the heroes one way of looking at this is that some people seem to think that like the women have caused all the trouble. I'm not really sure I agree with that, but you can kind of see that it's sort of in there with the three witches, Lady Macbeth pushing Macbeth. So what's the solution? Well, Macbeth gets defeated, but the guys replacing him, I don't know what we're supposed to think about it. On the one hand, are the guys replacing him better leaders because they are totally disconnected from women? Malcolm is of no woman born, and of course, we never see his mother. She's presumably not alive. And Macduff. Oh wait, I think I screwed that up. Malcolm, we never see his mother, but Malcolm is unknown to woman, meaning he's a virgin. He has no connection to women. And Macduff is of no woman born. And he grew up without a mom because she died in a C-section surgery. So, like, these two guys that are like, we're the heroes, we're here to save everything. Are we supposed to be cheering for them because they have no women in their lives? Um, Macduff, Malcolm has no mom and no wife, and Macduff has no mom and no wife, and no sisters, and no like. And I don't know how we're supposed to feel. Like maybe we're supposed to be like, oh, thank God they don't have women. This will be so much better now because Macbeth was surrounded by women. I don't think that's right, but it's there. There's something you could see it in there. By the way, there's an excellent paper to be written, and if you want to write this, I would love to read it. There's a great paper to be written comparing Macbeth to Black Panther, because one of the most interesting things about Black Panther is about these two men, right? Black Panther and Killmonger, and they have very different relationships to women. Killmonger does not have women in his life. He's raised by his father. He casually murders his girlfriend at the very beginning of the movie just to be an asshole. Black Panther is surrounded by strong, awesome women. The warriors are women. He's got a sister who's a genius, right? He's got all these women around him. And I think it's really interesting to think about the ways in which Black Panther gains strength from being surrounded by badass women, and that Killmonger, who does seem to have a lot of good points on his side, is isolated from women. It's one of the key differences between those two characters, and it makes the dynamic between them really interesting. I really like it. Um, I don't know, Black Panther was a pretty smart movie, and you can see like Shakespeare, they're kind of thinking about, okay, well, if this guy has lots of women, this guy should have no women and also casually kill his girlfriend at the beginning of the movie. Like somebody's thinking about this. Black Panther was a cool movie. All right, so it does, and here's the other thing, and this is a larger Shakespearean point, and this is something that students have trouble with because it's not about the relationship between the characters, but it's about the media audience watching the show. And students would much rather talk about this kind of thing between this character and that character than between Shakespeare and me. but I think you need to talk about how you relate to the thing. Shakespeare's done something very tricky to us. Um, it's actually in a speech at the end. I'm trying to find it really quick. I probably should have underlined it or something, and I didn't do it. Um, Fuck, where is that speech? I'm gonna find it. Give me 10 seconds. Oh yeah, here it is. It's like the fifth to the last line of the play. Malcolm, he gives this big speech at the end, and in his big speech, he calls Macbeth the dead butcher and his fiend-like queen. So he calls Macbeth as a dead butcher, and his wife is a fiend. So they're just bad people, right? Macbeth is a killer and his wife is evil. That's what he says. That's one of the last things in the play that is said about Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. And I know what he means. I understand why he feels like that. Macbeth was a butcher. He killed a lot of people, killed children, men, women. And his wife was a fiend. She was a sort of evil person who was setting in motion a lot of evil things. He's not wrong, exactly, but Shakespeare's done something funny, and I made this joke early on about how forgettable the characters are, like Ross and Caithness and Lennox and Menteith, and who cares about these guys? But also, like, I don't really like Malcolm and Macduff very much. They're not interest. They're not. I don't like them a lot. They're okay. They're dudes. Mm. They're just not very interesting people. Malcolm, he's unknown to woman, and he seems, and that whole thing where he's like pretends he's really evil, and he's like, haha, I tricked you. Like, what kind of psychopath are you for doing that? Like, why would you make that? Why would you do that? Is that really necessary? It makes me not like him. I don't like Macduff either. Macduff abandoned his whole. They try to make him a little more likable in the movie, but in the play, he just abandons his family without warning and for no reason and gets them all fucking killed. I'm supposed to like this guy? Am I supposed to? Here's the thing. Am I really supposed to be cheering for Malcolm and Macduff at the end of the movie and be like, yay, they saved us all? Because, like, I kind of don't like them. I don't like them on multiple levels. I don't like them because they seem like vaguely shitty, but also I don't like them because they're not interesting. They're not interesting personalities. I've spent this whole play being fascinated by the personalities, the charisma of Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. And I guess you can dismiss them and be like, the butcher and his fiend-like queen. But they were more than that. I know that's not, it's not that that's not true. Of course they were a butcher and a fiend. Yes, I agree. But they were more than that. They were profoundly in love. They were complex psychological creatures. And even though I don't agree with what they did, I understand where they're coming from. And I have a lot of sympathy for them. I've spent most of this play with them, and Macbeth being haunted, and Lady Macbeth losing control of her husband after she did everything she could to kind of get him what he wanted, and then their relationship is fucked up, and like and her dead child, and like I have so much. They're fascinating people to spend time with. I know they're bad, but they're fascinating people to spend time with. Malcolm and Macduff are not fascinating people to spend time with, and also they're kind of dirtbaggy. I don't really like them, and it doesn't make me feel great how isolated they are from women, and I don't really like them. Um, so for that reason, I don't know how to feel when the play is over because this is what Shakespeare does. Most movies tell you how to feel, right? End of the movie, you cheer. Heroes win. Here, the feeling is more complex. And the movie captures this really well by doing that thing where Fleance picks up the sword, and because this violence isn't over yet. It's a more complex ending because on the one hand, I guess I'm glad evil got defeated. On the other hand, evil was interesting, and these guys seem boring. And also, I don't really think they're going to be great at their jobs. And also, I know more violence is coming because the witches said Banquo's children would be king, and Fleance is out there, and he's going to have to become king someday. And I don't know how he's going to get to be king, but given this play, seems like it's going to be through violence. So Shakespeare creates a complicated ending that leaves me feeling like I don't quite know how to feel about the ending of the play. Okay, cool. I'm going to say a little bit more about. I want to talk a little bit more about there's another aspect of the ending I want to show you, that last speech, and then I think we're just, and I got another speech I want to do, and then we're just about done with Macbeth. So I'm going to wrap this up in a couple of videos. Yay!